as I was traveling to certain destination points today, I just observed my environment,
Mm.
and I saw some individuals that were less fortunate, right? Like,
Mm.
they were, I would assume that they were homeless because they were standing on either side of the street soliciting for some type of handout, right? And one person was on one side of the street holding up a sign. The other person was on the other side of the street, exact opposite of that person. And I'm like, do they know each other, or is just they're like, no, I'm gonna take this side, you take that side, right? So
Mm-hmm.
no, and it's not like making fun. I'm just like, okay, one person on one side, this person on the other side, but the one person that was on this side, the right side, was bent down and was writing a sign, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I passed them, flow of traffic kept going, but I kept thinking about them, and I was like, okay, this person is conscious enough they have enough consciousness and awareness that I'm in a predicament, in a situation that I do not like, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be in. And they're intelligent enough, they have enough intelligence and recognition that, okay, I need to get out of this position. And then they calculated, like, this is conscious thought that went into, right, and careful planning and consideration, that I need to get out of this position, so I'm going to pick a location,
Mm-hmm.
right, bam, that spot, I'm going to make a sign, and I'm going to craft a message asking for help, right.
Mm.
So like, this is someone that's competent and conscious, and has, at least we can assume, a certain level of skill set, that they are able to, like, be aware of their surroundings, their
Yeah.
environment, and their
Yeah.
condition, and say, this is not enough, I need assistance, and station themselves in a spot where, and then make a sign that they can ask for assistance. And I derived that because I'm looking at the other person. I'm like, well, you're making a sign, so you have the skill set enough to find the proper resources, to be able to make the sign.
Mm.
So then my next train of thought took me to, like, well, how did you end up in that position in the first place?
Mm.
Right? Like, what were the choices that were made or weren't made that ultimately led there, right?
Yes. Yes.
And it's clear, or at least I'm assuming, I don't know what their train of thought is, but I'm assuming, just from the law of deduction, that, okay, so now you're making more choices in attempts to rectify the situation and find yourself out of the situation, right?
Yes.
I, I'm assuming that is the desire. And so as I kept looking at that, I'm like, man, and I start thinking about, even just myself, how many times did I go through life, and I followed that train of thought, where I calculated, like, all these different steps, like, all right, I'm in a position I don't like, let me get some resources, and then let me, put myself in a position where everybody can see me, and but I'm not taking any action, any constructive action, right? Like, that's going to move me in a particular situation, move me
Yes.
in a direction
Yeah.
towards something. I'm just, right. Like, I'm situating myself in a position where it's really just leading to more stagnation,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because
Yeah. It
now,
could
now
be.
I'm not, yeah, now I'm playing the
Yeah.
law of odds and averages. Chance that someone sees my sign, then
Could
it
be.
triggers
Yeah.
something to say, okay, right, like, and if you live long enough, you understand that that's not how life works. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
just, yes, you should ask for what you want, but in the process of asking, there's also action, personal action, that is
Yes.
required from you towards what you want. So, right, like, what I mean. And
Mm-hmm.
then my train of thought even went further, like, well, how long are you going to do that, and how consistent are you going to be in doing that before you decide to do something else.
For yourself.
Right? You know, before you decide to, okay, this course of action is not working. Let me try another course of action, right? But I think it correlates and it ties into your point that like the minute you become stagnant, you know, life evolves and becomes so rapidly that you can easily find yourself behind just like that. Like you take a day off, take 2 days off, 3 days off, and now you're playing a catch-up game, right? And because I think that is one of the maybe universal laws that it seems like life imposes on every human being. Like as long as you're drawing breath and you exist on this planet, like you're going to be required to do something. Right? You're going to be required to contribute some way, somehow. Right. So, yeah.
No, you are absolutely right. You know, life is going to keep evolving, right? And at a pace where, you know, you take a day, 2 days off, you're playing catch up game. I mean, it's just like, you know, when we sit down last year, you know, where we are and right now, just Artistry of life. You know, a couple of months ago, we started downstairs, you know, and then boom, here we are evolving, you know, in the DFB studio, right? But it's like, once people get to a destination, right, they fall in love with that place and refuse to evolve. You know, and hence another form of stagnation that people don't even realize, right? Because, I'm in love, I love this place, you know, I love the situation, I love the environment. Even when, you know, deep down, you've outgrown everything around there. You know, because that was part of my learning lessons where, you know, last year, you remember when went out to go visit some friends, some of my own friends, you know, that we used to like go out everything before, right? And deep down, you know, I'd grown that environment, I'd grown that society, but I was like, let me, you know, that is a good part of my life that, you know, that reminds me of home, I want to hold on to, right? Until I went there, I felt like a stranger in a place that used to be like home for me. So I was like, okay, I have to evolve, man, you know. So yeah, that plays a very good part in, you know, the evolution.
Did you like that episode? Thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Before you go, subscribe and click that like.